Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Student Spotlight series, where we showcase some of the work our past students have done. Today is our pleasure to have Jasmine Li with us. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what year of school you're in, and a little bit about the course you've taken with CCIR?
Hi, my name is Jasmine Li, and I'm a senior in high school in New York. And I'm in the course One-to-One Mentorship with CCIR, and my teacher is Ali Spodok from Oxford University.
Hmm.
And my research is on feminism and gender studies.
Hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about the one-on-one mentorship program, just like how it's structured and what the experience was like?
So the one-on-one mentorship program, one student get paired with one professor, and the entire class structure is just one-on-one. And you have 14 weeks, so which means you have 14 classes, and each class is 1 hour. And throughout this program, you'll be working with your professor on a topic that you're passionate about, and most likely you'll get aid from the professor about like discovery about the topic and stuff. So, and then at the end, you
Hmm.
will conduct a research paper,
Hmm.
and hopefully it will get published by the help of CCIR.
So, how did you become interested in the one-on-one mentorship program?
So, my interest in research, so it first started off with a course that I have taken in my high school in my sophomore year. It's called AP Seminar. And in that course, I conducted two research papers with my school teacher, and it was all schoolwork. And then after conducting the research papers, I discovered, yeah, I discovered my passion for research, and I ended up just Googling and just searching up like research program for high schoolers, and that's how I found out about CCIR. And after I found out about CCIR, I thought it was really cool about how students, high school students, can have this research opportunity with like world-class professors from like all those really world top universities. And I
Hmm.
really looked into it, and then I saw this one-to-one mentorship, and I really, really got into it because it was a one-on-one opportunity. It was not so I believe this one-on-one opportunity compared to like bigger group classes, the student gets more attention and more help and more of a connection from the professor. So that's why I really got passionate into this program, and I decided to apply for it.
Yeah, that's a really unique opportunity to get that kind of one-on-one mentorship. So, what did like each session sort of look like? Like, how was it? How did you? I guess so. You came in with an interest in feminism and gender studies, right? But
Mhm.
how did you sort of develop a curriculum, or how did that work?
So first I actually came in with kind of a vague interest, I would say. So I know that I'm passionate about feminism and gender studies, but this is a very big topic, and I
Hmm.
didn't really know like where I can find a very specific topic to research on and then actually conduct a research paper. So the first few classes our focus on to was to like narrow down my interest and actually find a very specific topic. So the first few classes, my teacher, Dr. Bodok, she actually gave me a bunch, I would say a bunch of books on feminism to like read over and get to know like feminism in a deeper sense. Because before I started, I only viewed feminism as like the thingy for yay, women's rights, like women's power, we need women's rights. But what is feminism like? What are the categories? Like what are the different beliefs of like each branch of feminism? So in the beginning of class, like and in the first few classes, I wrote a literature review just on feminism, on the different types and the different beliefs, on like also different places of feminism, like feminism in America, feminism in China, and blah blah blah. And then after that, we kind of go into like which part of feminism am I most interested in? Like, is it
Hmm.
maybe feminism in America? Like that's where I ended up. I did a uh research paper on like Barbie, which is like a
Oh, okay.
yeah, in
Yeah.
America. And then we also talked about like other categories, let's say K-pop. One of our potential topics was to do research on like K-pop lyrics and how
Hmm.
K-pop lyrics like demonstrated a type of feminism and or maybe some feminism maybe in China and stuff. But
Hmm.
after exploring all of those topics, I believed my interest finally settled down in this movie Barbie. Because
Hmm.
first of all, I'm a big fan of this movie. I love this movie. And
Hmm.
I thought it's really fun to dig, like how you can see all sort of the societal issues, how the movie reflects them, but also
Hmm.
how the movie kind of both challenges and sustains this I would say social norm and stuff. So yeah.
Hmm. So can you say a little bit more? Like, what did your conclusion end up being?
So my conclusion, so I would answer that question using my actually my title of my research paper. So my
Mhm.
title is Greta Gerwig's Barbie 2023, a commercial product or feminist masterpiece. So
Uh-huh.
in my research paper, I had like basically two main categories. The first category is about I talked about how this movie reflects societal issues. For example, like beauty standards, how girls are pushed into this beauty standards that they're taught they have to be pretty, they have to be thin, they have to be like white skin and all of that stuff. And then I also talked about like patriarchy, how patriarchy is like still exists in our society and how that's just like terrible for feminism.
Hmm.
And also the second part of my research paper was saying, is this movie actually a grand masterpiece of feminism? Like, is the movie's goal actually pr to promote feminism? And clearly it was not.
Hmm.
So this movie was made by, yeah, Mattel, this company, which actually it's also made Barbie. So
Right.
the main point of this movie, the main goal of this movie, overall is to make money for Mattel. Like that's
Hmm.
the main goal of the movie. So Mattel didn't make this movie to say we are gonna promote feminism. Yeah, we love girls. No, the main
Hmm.
goal is to sell this movie, get a bunch of money, and sell Barbie, the product.
Right.
So my conclusion also at the end of my research paper is that yes, this movie promotes some kind of feminism. However, it is still in the structure of this capitalist society. So like
Hmm.
it promotes girls to be bosses, but it doesn't question the overall system. Like of it doesn't question the overall capitalist system that like are oppressing women. It tells women to be bosses, but doesn't question why do girls have to be bosses? Why do we have to be bosses? Yeah.
Hmm. That's really interesting. Can you say maybe a little bit more about like what the research process was like? Was there a certain sort of body of literature that you were drawing from, or a certain like key texts maybe that you were using as a framework to analyze the movie?
So the main text that I used to analyze is actually the movie itself. So I used like various quotes from the movie and various scenes. And then for example, I would say my one of my favorite scene in the movie was the harassment scene. Um,
Hmm.
it was when like Barbie and Ken first got into the real world, and then
Hmm.
they were on their like rollerblades, and then they were like sliding all over the place, and Barbie was getting all those attention from like guys, and then she said, I feel like undergoing violence that's toward me. And then Ken's like, no, I don't feel violence at all. I feel like all these guys, they're admiring me and stuff. So
Hmm.
I think that scene is so fun to like actually do an analyze because the attention that boys and girls are getting is so different. So like picture a scene that a lady is like walking down on the street and then she's getting all this attention from guys. Yeah, I would say that 99% of women will feel a sense of violence and maybe harassment. But if a guy walks down the street with all those attention and stuff, he'll feel most likely he'll feel proud of himself and confident.
Hmm.
So yeah, so basically most of my essays are these kind of stuff, like analyzing specific scenes and specific quotes from the movie. So yeah.
Hmm. So can you say a little bit about how your mentor supported you with the project, or like how they helped guide you or give you feedback?
So first, I would go back to the literature review where I mentioned in the beginning. So, For the literature review, I wrote a literature review, and then my mentor gave me all those comments about like different categories and blah blah blah. And then
Hmm.
I think the biggest help on the way, well, I think there's two biggest help on the way. So the first biggest help is that my mentor actually took a full, like almost a full class period to go over various categories of feminism with me. So like there's liberal feminism, like radical feminism, and black feminism, and like anarcho feminism. And after that class, I think I have like a way more clear image of various feminism and how like I can use these various feminism in my research paper to talk about like different beliefs and stuff. And another biggest help is she made me to think outside of the box. So like before I started this program, because like I watched this movie before I actually started, I thought this movie was like a very great piece for feminism. And then I was kind of in the frame and be like, yay, girls, we have to be bosses. We have to make all those money and stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then after like my research goes on with her, like um my professor, Dr. Boddock, she questioned and made me think that do we have to be like in this frame? Do we have does everything has to be in this capitalist framework? And does only being bosses and making all this money and being like at a high position in the society, in the capitalist system, is that the only way to like promote feminism and women power? Like we need to question the entire system instead of like single decisions and stuff. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So it occurs to me that probably some people have already written on Barbie, right? Did you encounter existing literature on Barbie when you were doing your research?
Yeah, that was actually a very great concern for me, like when I first discovered this topic.
Hmm.
So as I mentioned before, I had various topics and stuff. So before actually settled on this topic, I asked my mentor, my professor. Um, I know that there are lots of like research already going out there, going on with Barbie, and there are various like research papers already. So should I continue with this topic?
Hmm.
Will my research just be like the same with another research paper that already exists? Like, what should I do? What if that happens? And
Hmm.
the thing that my professor told me is that no matter like how many people are writing on the same topic, you will always come up with something new. Like, don't worry about that. You will always have your own idea and you will always have your own view. And plus, like, if you encounter like a thing that you consider very similar, you can always change it. So like change your perspective, change around. Like maybe change your scenes that you're analyzing about. And but most importantly, you will always have your own perspective and your own thoughts, even though like many people are writing on the same thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a misconception some people can have that like the fact that people have already written about a topic means that you shouldn't write about it. I feel like often it's precisely the opposite. Is that when a lot of people are writing about something, that's a sign that there's a sort of active field of research there. There are different perspectives that you can engage with. So I guess I was wondering if there was any way in which you engaged with existing literature on Barbie. Were there people that you disagreed with, or approaches that you adopted from existing literature on the movie?
Yes. So on the beginning of my research paper, I had like a big section of literature review, and all of that thing is basically on existing literature about Barbie and feminism. Um, so I did have things that I really like and I actually like integrated into like my research paper. So I think a one example is like Crystal Balls, and she looked at like gender and economic systems in like Barbie's world and stuff. So I did integrate some already existing points, like maybe from movie reviews and stuff, into my work. And there are also things that I disagree with. I think I saw this movie review from a very famous like YouTuber, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I didn't really agree with him because first of all, this is also what my mentor told me that like you should be careful when a guy is reviewing Barbie. So
Uh-huh.
anyways, so I didn't really agree with him because he said that so like Barbie is a kids movie and blah blah blah. And Barbie is not a kids movie, at least in my taste. It is not a kids movie. Like the problems that it demonstrates that it deals with, I mean, I would say I would picture a mom taking her daughter to Barbie and then like having fun, but to actually understand the societal issues that it reflects,
Mhm.
I don't think it's a kids movie. So there are things that I disagree with, but like I would say most of the literature review I did agree with. So yeah.
Mhm. So you've wrapped up the paper. It's all done.
Yeah, it's all done.
So
I mean, not really all done because I still have to I mean, I never consider a paper to be done. I
sure.
always think
Yeah.
that, yeah, there is more things you are gonna add to it, like no matter at what time, no matter how old you are. So, I'm currently still working on it. Like, I'm working on like abstracts for like submission,
Mhm.
publication and stuff. So yeah, and I'm also aiming to like read more books, about feminism to like maybe add more feminism perspectives. But anyways.
Yeah. So can you say a little bit about, you mentioned earlier that your goal is ultimately, to publish the paper. Can you say a little bit about how CCIR or your mentor have kind of helped you or supported you with finding journals where you can publish or maybe conferences that you can submit the paper to?
So, in the last class, like the last one or two class, my mentor and I, like, we started to find journals where we can submit, and then we found various journals already actually, and then after I looked into it, sadly, the journals are for undergraduate college students only, so they're not for high
Hmm.
schoolers. And then after the class ended, I emailed CCIR, I emailed them my paper, and after around like 2 weeks they emailed me back a review about like improvements that I should make on my paper, for example have an abstract and
Hmm.
like change about maybe like the format of like how I put quotes and stuff. And most importantly it also gave me an email on how I have like a list of like all the conferences that I may go to, and also journals, for example, like Journal of Student Research and the Scholar. So these are all resources that CCR gave me and support me to like go through this process of publication. And in the email, CCR also told me that like even if I didn't get published, that's all fine. I can email them back and then let's go find another journal. So
Yeah. Yeah. You can always keep revising and keep submitting. And I think that it's just a really valuable experience because, I mean, I know lots of people, the vast majority of people don't even really don't end up having to engage with the publication process until like you're well into grad school. So to get experience with that early on is, I think, a really great thing. Um, so coming into the program, is there anything like if you were going to advise someone who is going to, uh, start a one-on-one mentorship program with CCAR, what advice would you give them? Or is there anything that you wish you had known earlier on?
um that's a great question. Because to be honest, I really, really enjoyed this process. And maybe for me, like for actually for myself, the one thing that I hope that I've done better maybe is that before at the startup program, I hope that I have read like a little more books on feminism. So
Hmm.
I would say that read more resources like in your field and like just know more. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it can never hurt to know
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So do you have any final thoughts or that you want to share about your experience?
So I am so grateful for this experience to like actually have this opportunity to conduct research with my professor, Dr. Bodak. I love her. She's so good. Yeah. Um and I think that as a high schooler is such an honor to have this opportunity before I start my college experience because this is a college level like research program, and everything we done here is not like just a simple high school research paper that you have to complete in your like high school class or something. This is actually a college level like pretty prestigious research program that you complete with a college professor. So and yeah, so I'm so grateful to have this foundation, and I will believe this program will help me to build on to my future resources in college or maybe grad school. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you felt like that preparation was valuable. I mean, I'm sure that it's an experience that will definitely give you a kind of head start when you do research in the future. Yeah, so I mean, I also really enjoyed hearing about your paper and the dynamic that you had with your professor. So thank you so much for sharing your experience, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.